Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to the Attic. This is the Man Dad channel where we explore what's fun in Magic, mostly on Arena, but in the case of Meta Mondays, what's going on in paper? What's going on in Magic Online? It's all going to cross over. It's all going to be very, very weird with the new Spiderman / on Arena. They can't put Spiderman. They don't have the rights, so they got a completely different copy of every card. Called Through the Omenpaths. We'll talk about that. And we'll talk about... I wanted to talk about some spicy deck lists with Spider-Man cards, but nobody's made any yet that I can find. If you've got them, send me a link or let me know where to look. Yeoman 5 is the place I usually look on Blue Sky, putting out good deck lists for new sets. It doesn't seem to be out yet for Spider-Man. So what we're going to do is we're going to look through the cards and maybe just do some brainstorming about the cards and how they might affect the meta. But in order to talk about that, of course, we have to go through the data on what's going on in the metagame in the various formats. And that's the usual thing we do on Monday here on this channel. I pay for the untapped.gg stats, so you don't have to, and we can see what's winning in a very old in the tooth Edge of Eternity's standard right now, right here. Best of one. Popularity, Mono White Life Gain remains very popular. It's a very easy deck to build without a lot of wild cards, and I think that is why, because as you can see, it is here number 7 in the win rate, and it's really not that far from behind in win rate from the number 1, Jeskai Artifacts, Boros Burns, Lesney Rabbits, Mono Red Aggro in number 4. But if you look at these win rates, it's all very compressed here, 55.9 all the way down to 55.0 in the 1 through 6. So, you know, all within 1% of each other. And there's a decent amount of data. This is the one data set that is really worthwhile on untapped.gg. And it looks like Jeskai Artifacts has actually, in the last week or so, been quite good. And it was good after Edge of Eternities came out as well. So Jeskai Artifacts, at least for best of 1, is really seems to be where it's at. Now, best of 3 is always a different story. We know Is It Vivi? There it is, popularity. Number 1, although not too far ahead of Dimir Midrange, but both of them well far ahead of Azorius Control. Is It Vivi, 16.5% of the meta. Dimir Midrange, 14.1% of the meta. Azorius Control, 7.4% of the meta. And Jeskai Artifacts, again winning. So let's take a look at what a Jeskai Artifacts deck list looks like. What are people playing in this very winning Jeskai Artifacts? And here's one that's got 60.8% win rate with 320 matches. And an average duration of 5.8 minutes. I'd like to see under 5 minutes if you're trying to rank up quickly. But certainly not terrible at all. United Battlefront, 4 of 2 Enigma Jewels, and that is legendary, so you don't want to have 2 of those in any given game usually. Clay-Fired Bricks, a 2 of. Spring-Loaded Sawblades, a 2 of. Cryogen Relic, 4 of. Perilous Snare, 4 of. Pinnacle Starcage, 4 of. So I guess that Mono Red, as long as it remains popular, Pinnacle Starcage is going to be a 4 of in this list because it sweeps up all the little stuff. Although Mono Red has gotten bigger, as we'll probably talk about. Got 2 Braided Nets, 4 Repurposing Bays, of course, 4 Simulacra Synthesizers, of course, 1 White Auracite, 1 Fire Crystal, 2 Authority of the Consoles, not even an artifact. That's just how good, I guess, you need to be to shut down. It doesn't really shut down Vivi. Fomori Vault, Adagio, Windswept Plain, 1 Ishgard the Holy Sea. I don't know if I've really seen that. For 5 mana, return up to 2 target artifact or enchantment cards from your graveyard to your hand. So it does have a nice mode there, although you just a tap land. I guess you're not playing that much on turn 1. You can afford it in this deck. And then Uthros, some more tap lands, Restless Anchorage, 2 of those, and 4 starting towns. Kind of interesting. The sideboard here for this particular build. 2 Rest in Pieces, I guess that's the VV thing, and a Null to deal with the Cauldron. No More Lies can deal with both VV and Cauldron. Split Up and Ghost Vacuum. Again, just more graveyard hate. So pretty heavy on the graveyard hate and the gates. Really tacked, it looks like to me, Like, it looks like to me it's ready to play mono red in game 1 and then tech to beat Vivi in games 2 and 3, and that's got quite a bit of data behind it. In terms of win rate, though, it is a negative win rate against Izzet Vivi, but it is 71% against Esper Pixie. So I guess maybe really the Pinnacle Star Cages are the strongest against Pixie. It looks like it doesn't. The top 3 decks, Vivi, Midrange, and Azorius Control, it has negative win rates against. Yeah, I guess it beats enough of the rest of the meta that it's doing pretty well to be on top. If we took at what Izzet Vivi is losing to, oh, I guess, well, here's Izzet Vivi is on top. Really, it's only losing to Izzet Vivi. Okay, Gruul Landfall has a 47% win rate and 1,000 matches against Gruul Landfall, so that's mono green Landfall. Mono green Stompy can beat Vivi apparently, and mono red aggro, as we knew, is what's been beating Vivi in the tournaments. And we'll take a look maybe at some of that data in a sec. So I don't know what to tell you. Certainly, I think my prior for Vivi and or Cauldron getting banned has gone down. I think that when Wizards looks at this data here, they're not seeing Vivi being absolutely dominant, right? A 59.2% win rate versus a 58.9% win rate. There's a number of decks that have a share of the meta. If that's the data that they're looking at, I think that they don't ban those 2 cards, and that's very different. I mean, I think I was still at, what was I at, 20, 25% when it wasn't even last week. It was last Wednesday because we had a late Meta Mondays on a Wednesday last week. So, I've updated quite a bit now, I guess, over the last week, that people have seemed to figure out ways to beat Vivi. It's still very strong, but there's a lot of cards banned already in Standard, and I just don't think Wizards wants to ban anymore. I think they want to let Spider-Man come out and see what happens. And, you know, if a couple weeks into Spider-Man nobody's playing any Spider-Man cards, they might start taking a hard look at a ban. But until then, that's how I see it. But you leave a comment, you let me know what you're seeing from your perspective. So that's the data on untap.gg. Now flipping over here to MTG Goldfish, and I do believe when I was watching back last week's stream, we should really be increasing the size of this and making it easier to read on YouTube. Let me see, how is that looking for everyone? There we go. Yeah. So they have Izzet Cauldron at 31.8% of the metagame. That is a more alarming amount. If that is what Wizards is seeing and judging by, I think that maybe they would take action. And we see recent 5-0s. Izzet Cauldron, Dimir Midrange, Grixis Cauldron. And that is interesting enough to me. I would take a look. It looks like just in the sideboard, you're getting Duress, Bitter Triumph, and Tiny Bones. Tiny Bones has been... 4 of the Tiny Bones, by the way, has been a piece of tech that people have been talking up in terms of fighting Vivi Cauldron. So this is just bringing in black for the mirror match, it looks like. Otherwise, pretty standard Vivi list, as far as I can tell. 2 Abrades. We talked about the amount of Abrades last week. Whether 2 is the right number, it seems to be. At least it was last week. Mono Red Aggro. We know that there was a big tournament 2 weekends ago. Mono Red Aggro won, but Izzet Cauldron really dominated the metagame and did, had a really high conversion rate to day 2. So that's what had everybody concerned, if you're just catching up. Look, we got Azorius Enchantments, a Simic Omniscience deck. And that's looks like he's using Kona to put in Simic Omniscience. You got Bloomvine Regent, Meringue River Regent, and then, Roiling Dragonstorm to go with those dragons. 4 Omniscience. 3 Lost in the Maze, stock up. Unauthorized Exit. This is your main interaction in Dispelling Exhale, again to go with the dragons. And 4 of Consult the Star Charts will help you find your Omniscience. So 100% relying on Kona, which you're going to tap down, I presume, using, Evendo, walking Haven, or Uthros Titanic Godcore. We got 4 of each of those. So interesting deck. Congratulations to Ultra Super Bob for getting a 5-0 with that one. And Azorius Enchantments is also looks pretty similar. Faithlight, I'm not sure I've seen here. It's a enchantment, gives +1/+0 flying and hexproof. So just a little bit of interaction. I guess that's instead of the white enchantment that draws you a card and gives flying. I don't see that on here. But Gremlin Tamer, Silent Hall Creeper. This, how much is this? This is 192 in paper. Could certainly, what's the big expense? Sheltered by Ghosts and Enduring Innocence and 2 Meticulous Archives. You might be able to trim down Meticulous Archives and get away with, you know, I don't know if you get it under 100 budget, but you could certainly do a budget version of this and do pretty well, and maybe we'll make one for the channel. Right now, people don't seem to be watching my deck videos. Everybody wants to talk about Spiderman, so it is what it is. Battle Crier combo, but there are a lot of Cauldrons in here. RCQ, looks like it was won by Dimir Midrange. Esper Self Bounce, Mono Red Aggro, so Cauldron doesn't come until 5th. That's a pretty, I think Wizards probably looks at that. So that'd be a pretty strong signal. And this standard challenge, look, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, Mono Red Dragons. Let's check out that list. So this is a pretty standard Mono Red group of cards here. Burnout Bastronaut, Hired Claw. Those seem to be very popular for your 8/1 drops. Razorkin Needlehead obviously is a meta call. It's good against Vivi. And then this has 4 Sarkhans, 3 Screaming Nemesis, not 4. 4 Stingerback Terror, which is another dragon. 4 Dragonhawk Fate's Tempest. 4 Nova Hellkite. Now Nova Hellkite is getting played in the usual mono red decks. 4 Burst Lightning, some Cavern of Souls, because you're playing a lot of dragons, so that works pretty well. 19 Mountains, 3 Soul Stone Sanctuaries, which can also themselves be dragons. And is really the only dragon synergy with Sarkhan. Lets you behold a dragon and make a treasure token. Whenever a dragon you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter, and then it becomes a dragon that turn. Well, these dragons have other dragon synergies that I see. But yeah, okay. Well, that looks like a fun list from Trampled. And that, there's another standard challenge, won by Azorius Control. Is it Prowess? Not coming in, showing up till 6th and 8th there. So again, I'm not seeing the total domination of Is It Cauldron. I think maybe if you just look at the top line stats of the metagame here, it's a bit laggy because it was really popular about a week ago, but I think Is It Cauldron seems to be falling, just judging by those results there. And if we look over here at the popularity over time, we don't really, I wish there was a way to change the scale here, make it a little bit more logarithmic. Yeah, Is It Vivi looks pretty flat there, and it's going up in win rate. The current metagame is diverging. People are figuring out, Landfall was on top, but it does have a favorable matchup. There's Teamer Battlecrier. I'm kind of curious to see a Teamer Battlecrier list. So let's look over here and see if we can find. There's one that won 58.9%. That's just Lana Wars, 4 Outcaster Trailblazers, 4 Teamer Battlecriers, 4 Roaming Thrones. It's an Orc Ranger, that's a Human Druid, so you're doubling up just... what triggers are you doubling up with Roaming Throne? Just the Outcaster? You've got this Cactus. 2 of these. At the beginning of comment on your turn, other creatures you control with power 4 or greater gain trample and haste. Okay. And then Dragonhawk is back. So maybe Dragonhawk is up. And Anti-Causal Vestige is a really good card, so I'm not surprised there's a deck that's found a way to use it. Devastating Onslaught. Never got this to work in Limited, but it is a powerful card. If you can get it to work, create X tokens, copies of target artifact or creature you control. They gain haste, sacrifice them in the next end step. So, Lumbering World Wagon. This just looks like a very stompy list. I mean, that's an amazing win rate for 2,300 matches. Average duration 5 minutes. Looks like a good list to rank up with, and maybe will surprise some people because I haven't seen it that much on the ladder. N equals 1, but moving on to Pioneer. Well, I guess I should move on so quickly. Let's see if there's any commentary on Standard before we move on. Jumping over to Pioneer, Boros Aggro is the highest in win rate. And looks like Mono Red Aggro is on the decline in terms of popularity. And why these... We just have a couple things selected. We should... the number of them on here. So we can see Mono Red Aggro, yeah, falling in popularity. Win rate kind of all over the place. Rakdos Aggro, which, as we know, is just Mono Red Aggro with Callous Sellsword. So it's really not any different from Mono Red Aggro. But they do, you can see, they do diverge. But both seem to be pretty strong. Well, both seem to be pretty strong in terms of popularity and pretty strong in terms of win rate. Mono Red Aggro versus Rakdos Aggro going back and forth this last week. Esper Greasefang falling off a cliff in the last few days. What is this that's going up? Selesnya Auras on the upswing. But a good amount of decks that will rank you up, it looks like. Here on Best of 1 on Arena. And Best of 3 on Arena is at Vivi. Vivi also doing well in Pioneer. Not even showing in terms of popularity. So let's look at what does the deck list look like? 600 matches at a 63.4% win rate. That's pretty outstanding. Going to Pioneer, you get Dreadhorde Arcanist, so that's useful. You get Sleight of Hand. Well, we've got Sleight of Hand. We got Wild Ride. Stock up. Treasure Cruise you can add in. Consider in Standard? I don't think so. Into the Flood Maw, we've got Opt, we've got Fiery Impulse. So a lot of the cards, same as Phoenix. Corey Steel Cutter, you can play here. I mean, this just looks absolutely devastating, this deck. Full of good cards. Cards that are banned or will be banned in Standard. Or were banned. So, a better mana base. Anyways, well, let's see over... No, not ready for that yet. Over here on MTG Goldfish, what they're showing for the metagame. So we got Mono Red Aggro, 19.6, and Rakdos midrange kind of lines up. Not really the Rakdos that we talked about that gets broken down the way we talked about on untap.gg. But is it Vivi, Mono Red Aggro, Golgari Food? For some reason it's grayed out. I'm not sure why. Maybe just not a lot of data. Is it Prowess? Mono Black midrange. So in the Goldfish ratings, Mono Red Aggro 19.6% of the metagame, Rakdos midrange 14.4% of the metagame, Mono Black midrange 10.5% of the metagame, Phoenix 6.9%, Azorius Control 6.8%, Azorius Greasefang 6.7%, and 5.0 you get Selesnya Angels, Hammer Time, Golgari Food, Azorius Flash, Hidden Strings, Indomitable Creativity, Mono White Human, Simic Skate Shift, Gruul Prowess. All of those should be available to play on Arena since they quote-unquote have Pioneer. Definitely if Arena is missing stuff, let me know. I would love to make a video or clang the alarm because I really don't like that they called it Pioneer when it doesn't. It should have every stupid stinking common. A lot of them should just be easy to auto-program. I guess you have to test them all to make sure that their auto-programmer did it, but I don't know. They already were calling it Explorer. I feel like they've just stopped now. Once they got to most of the cards that were in the competitive metagame, they stopped. The fact that we're seeing quite a divergence maybe between the metagame on Arena and the metagame on MTG Online, which is more of what gets the data here for Goldfish, I'm thinking is a sign that they should really try to, merge these two better. All right, enough of my yammering about that. Let's jump over to Pauper as long as we're here. Blue Terror 11.8%, John Wildfire 11%, Madness Burn 10.2%. Those are the top three pretty strongly, and then High Tide Combo, Mono Blue Fairies, Burn, maybe Spy Combo is 6.5 to 5.5% of the metagame. Always looks like a good metagame when we look at Pauper. Vintage Mono White Initiative looks pretty dominant this week, 25.9%. Next most closest deck is Dimir Lura's Control at 15.3%, which is, compared to other metagames, seems pretty big. Jewel Shops at 13.7%. Esper Lura's Control at 7.2%. Doomsday at 6.3%. And did I skip over Legacy? Dimir Reanimator, 18.4%. And a very distant second, Red Stompy, 7.2%. Izzet Delver at 6.1%. Dual Commander, like Aragorn, is interesting. And Cloud at number 2. So Cloud is relatively recent, coming from Final Fantasy, if you don't know. And then, do we care about any of these? Commander, they're guessing Ishtola. Brawl, they have Bristly Bill. We'll compare that to what we have in Brawl in just a second, but we got more formats over here in Arena. We got Alchemy, best of 3, not enough data here, but best of 1. Izzet Vivi, far and away the most popular, but in terms of win rate, Selesnya Rabbits. Gotta love those Alchemy Rabbits. If rabbits are your thing, Alchemy should be your place, because only 4.5% of the metagame, yet it is pretty solidly on top of even Mono Red Aggro, 62.3%. And in Historic, Naya Val at number 1 in win rate. In terms of popularity, Gruul Eldrazi is number 1. And looks like, what is this? Naya Lifegain having a really big fall this week. So the metagame has shifted, it looks like, in Historic. Historic got shaken up quite a bit with a bunch of cards getting published in anthologies recently. Boros Energy is on the uptick here, like similar color to Boros Auras, which is on the downtick, and that was Boros Auras was, beginning of the week actually the top was Gruul Eldrazi, but then quickly became Boros Auras, and then now it looks like Boros Energy has taken over. So Energy has had some good, strong staying power, but people like playing Gruul Eldrazi, Izzet Wizards, Mono Green Elves. And I'm not sure if best of 3 will have much data for us, but we'll take a look. Simic Eldrazi, number 1 in win rate. In terms of popularity, Gruul Eldrazi is the more popular, with Simic Eldrazi at number 2. In Timeless, best of 3, both Golgari mid-range, both win rate and popularity have Golgari mid-range at the top. In best of 1, Boros Energy is the highest in win rate. Golgari Reanimator is number 1 in popularity, but very closely followed by Izzet Affinity and Mardu Energy. Among those 3, Mardu Energy being closest to the top in win rate, but it is Boros Energy that is far and away the most winning. And just clicking on this just because I'm curious. Yeah, it looks like both of these deck lists have above 67% win rate and either a 5-minute or 5.1 minute average duration for matches. So pretty good for ranking up if that's all you care about in your Boros Energy list. is pretty good. And these are all cards that are strong in Brawl, as you might know from a video I did a ways back. About the Ajani Brawl deck. Historic Brawl. Speaking of, Rathalos. And I have a list. I wanted to make a video, but then I needed to get my white and red quest done, so I made a video for, what's his name? Sammy Wildcat Captain instead. Sammy did not make the list this week, which probably explains why nobody is watching that video. Rathalos is banned in Commander for good reason. It's just a powerhouse at generating mana. When I did play test it, people were removing it on site, as I guess they know to do. So, interestingly, number 2 in win rate is this Vivi, which I believe is an Alchemy commander. Yeah, it is. So, 4 mana, 4/4 Flying Vigilance. Conjure a card of your choice from the planet's spellbook onto the battlefield. I guess it makes a planet on the battlefield, and whenever you attack, you create a lander, and it becomes a 2/1 artifact creature and gains flying. I don't know why you even need that, but there you go. Just more ridiculous ramp. So if you want your ramp in Bant flavors, there you go. Alchemy made a commander for you, and it wins like all these other ramp commanders seem to be doing. Uganai of Storms, Vivi, number 4 in win rate, Itali, number 5. So Itali has been a perpetually good one. Look at Yargle and Multani. I guess there's just not enough other ones that had enough data, because why is it at number 8 with a 25.7% win rate? Very interesting. I mean, I admit, I played some Yargle and Multani. It's good for the your Yargle quests, which I believe there's still a day or two left to complete if you want to get all your cool Yargle stuff. I realized I don't probably have the time to get all those, and that makes me sad, because I would love to get the Bargler little nameplate to put under my characters, but so it goes. So that's the metagame. I'll jump back to standard for anybody who wants to take a last look, and I'll check the comments, and then we'll move on to talking about Spider-Man. Here comes the Spider-Man. So yes, no deck list that I could find. Again, if you have a great deck list, or you know somebody who's putting out fun deck lists using these cards, the full spoiler has been out for a few days now. Send that my way. I'd love to see it. But the next best thing I thought we could do, short of me having gone through the whole card file, which I've not had time to do yet, is to organize by the monetary value. And let's blow this up as well. See if that looks good. Yeah, probably more readable. So, obviously Soulstone is the big chase card, and this is the chase version. Or no, I think there's a different chase version of it. This is what they have on Scryfall anyway. And there's a Peter Parker card. And here's just what the regular Soulstone looks like. This is a commander must include. Would this be good in standard? I feel like a 2-mana rock is pretty good. So once you can get up to 7 mana, tap it, exile a creature, then you can just be bringing back a creature each turn. We've seen that kind of ability be good. Certainly there could be some fun black control deck using that. Gwenum, or I guess we should say Norman Osborn and Peter Parker first. Let's look at these, even though they're the weird versions. So this is an 0/1, enters, creates a 2/1 green spider token with reach, and then it transforms into Amazing Spider-Man. Oh god, I don't even want to read this. Let's wait till we get to the regular versions of these. So we got Gwenum is the Spider-Gwen mixed with Venom. Looks like 4/4 Death Touch lifelink. When it attacks, until end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library. Anytime you may play cards from the top of your library. Since it does nothing, I mean, you could play it and then attack. I still feel like it's got the dies to Doomblade, except it doesn't literally die to Doomblade because it's a black creature. But Dies to outlaw removal. This town ain't big enough? No. That's the other one. Shot the sheriff. Shoot the sheriff. So Gwenum dies to shoot the sheriff. So probably won't see standard play. Similarly, Cosmic Spiderman. Beginning of combat on your turn, other spiders you control gain flying, first strike, trample, lifelink. Maybe as a one-of, there might be a 5-color spider deck. I'm not ruling it out yet. It looks well supported. Do we have the mana for it in standard? It's debatable, but certainly people will play it because it looks really fun. And if you're a big Spider-Man fan, you want to play all your favorite spiders. There you go. Electro. So a 3-mana 2/3 flying. You don't lose unspent red mana. And you get a red mana rebate each time. I feel like this is more of an Eternal format thing. This looks really good for Storm, a Storm style deck. When it leaves the battlefield, you have an outlet for that mana, so it never makes sense not to save it up. Miles Morales, 2-mana 1/2, enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures, so I guess it's at least a 2/3 itself, and can possibly be buffing something else. So it's kind of ridiculously good just without even looking at the flip. That's pretty great. Just on rate. That's going to be a limited all-star. And then once you flip it, it has camouflage, put a +1/+1 counter on Ultimate Spider-Man. He gains hexproof and becomes colorless until end of turn. He's first strike, haste, 4/3. I just find it so hard to read this stuff. Am I alone in this? I know people are down on the new Spider-Man cards because they did have to kind of change course very late and switch it from some kind of Universes Beyond not draftable set to a draftable standard set. Possibly power down some of these things for standard, but possibly not. So I don't think it's going to be as... I'm not expecting it to be as balanced as Final Fantasy. I do like some of the card designs. I'm going to be honest with you all. And I know that... the Anti-Universes Beyond Brigade, of which I am sometimes a member, does not like it when people say that. But you know what? I kind of like some of these Spider-Man cards. I'm just going to be real. So yeah. So pay 6 mana to flip it, and only as a sorcery. But I guess if you got the mana, I think it's really more of a commander thing. It still seems playable in standard, just the stats... and some things care about +1/+1 counters. I mean, I don't know. It might be fringe. But getting, 3/4 worth of stats for 2 mana? Am I reading that right? That seems good. Anti-Venom, Horrifying Healer. If you can get 5 white mana, you can also bring back a creature with it. And, we've seen this kind of thing where damage, and against a mono-red deck, what are they going to do against this? Damage that would be dealt to it gets prevented and it just gets bigger. This just shuts down mono-red. I guess if they have a flyer, if they have a slick shot, show off, they can get by it. But certainly sideboard playable, potentially. Again, this shows you, though, a lot of these are commander cards, and that shows you where the value is in these sets. And you say, why is Wizards putting commander cards in everything? Well, look, this is what people want to pay for. This is what drives most of the pack cracking, which is where Wizards makes its money. It doesn't make its money on the secondary market. Carnage, Crimson Chaos. 4/3 trample. When it enters, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains attacks each combat, and when it deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it. So it does get to stick around, and you can mayhem this in for 2. And mayhem is sort of like Madness, right? If it's discarded that turn, you can play it from the graveyard for the mayhem cost. But timing restrictions applies, unlike Madness. So, yeah, that just seems really good. There could be a Rakdos deck with this at the top end. That doesn't sound crazy to me, or like a Rakdos aggro deck with a little bit of loot or whatever mixed in so that you can Sometimes trigger the mayhem on this and other mayhem cards. Eddie Brock. When Eddie enters, you return creature card with mana value 1 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. Flips into Venom. 5/5 Menace, Trample, Haste. Whenever attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw X cards, then you may put a permanent card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield, where X is sacrifice creature's mana value. 3/3, bring back a 1-drop. There are plenty of those black-white decks that can have good, it's just a little value town. You could play a 1 of Eddie Brock. I don't see it, really. I think you want Raise the Past. You want everything to be either 1 or 2 mana. So that Raise the Past really gets back everything except like a Sephiroth or something that's really going to turn the tide. This doesn't really turn it. I don't see Eddie Brock as a constructed card. Peter Parker's Camera comes with 3 film counters. Remove a film counter. Copy target activated or triggered ability. So you can play that in the artifact decks. Double trigger your synthesizer. Web of Life and Destiny. This looks pretty not constructed playable. Just on a rate. Let me see. I kind of vaguely remember what this does from the previews. At the beginning of combat, you look at the top 5. You can put a creature from among them onto the battlefield. The problem is we got Omniscience, right? So you can cheat this out, or not even cheat, but like Convoke. Yeah, you can get it out relatively soon, but is that juice worth the squeeze compared to Omniscience, where you can literally just play everything in your hand, all the really strong stuff, Valgavoth, whatever. Villainous Wrath. This is another option for a 5-mana Wrath. I think you still do with you go with whatever. What's that one called? With the exile cards from your graveyard, you get to exile your opponent's stuff if you get up to 8, or is it 6? Blanking on the name, but you know what I'm talking about. The 5-mana Black Wrath that is played. As long as that's still in standard, I don't think you worry about that. Iron Spider. Iron Man mixed with Spider-Man. 2/3 Vigilance for 3 as an artifact. Colorless. Taps, puts a +1/+1 counter on each artifact creature in a vehicle you control. And you can remove to draw cards. This is one of those commanders that does the thing and draws the cards. I don't like it as a design. I mean, it's good, but I don't think it's. We don't have like an artifact creature aggro deck. Maybe if there was one, that goes in there. Again, a lot of these are legendary, so that complicates things. There's just so many legendaries in this set. It's going to be real hard for things to come in as a 4 of. Rent is due. I think this card is overrated. Beginning of your end step, you may tap 2 untapped creatures and or treasures you control if you do draw a card. Otherwise, you have to sacrifice it, guys. It is just 1 mana, but no. It's too easy if you have 2 creatures out, you bring this out, and they remove one of them before the end step, and then you just lost 1 mana and a card. And, and if you have 2 untapped creatures, do you want to be tapping them every turn to draw a card? There's just better ways to draw cards, even in white. Even in white in Commander. Agent Venom, 2/3 Flash Menace. Whenever another non-token creature calls you control dies, you draw a card, you lose 1 life. This will go right into the sacrifice decks. Mono black sacrifice decks with Sephiroth or the black-white ones. Is it good enough? I don't know. I mean, with Flash, you might be able to eat a opponent's creature that attacks, actually. Definitely a possibility. Arachne, Psionic Weaver, 3/3 web slinging. And web slinging, I wish they put the reminder text on these. Honestly. It's a thing where you can cast it for the web slinging cost if you return a tapped creature to your hand, I believe. Without having looked at it. Right here in front of me. As Arachne enters, look at an opponent's hand, then choose a card type other than creature, and spells of the chosen type cost one more to cast. Certainly easy to get this down on turn 2, seeing your opponent's hand. I really like this as a Staxy card, as a control card against legendaries. So how many are you going to play in a deck? Probably not more than 2. Stats are fine, 3 for 3, although it doesn't have any evasion. I don't know. Kind of medium. Dr. Octopus should be an awesome card, but 7 mana, so we can probably just rule that right out for constructed. Other villains get +2/+2. Okay, with 7 mana, your maximum hand size is 8. Great. You think they meant it to be 8 mana, right? At the beginning of end step, if you have fewer than 8 cards in hand, draw cards to equal the difference. Now that is good. That is pretty good. Imposter syndrome. Everybody loves the art. Let's do Spiderman pointing at each other like the meme. Whenever a non-token creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary. Hard for this to get broken except with extra combat steps, and we do have Fear of Missing Out in Standard. I still think that 6 mana does nothing to the board initially, makes this just a silly fun commander card. Here's the Plain Miles. So we get the 4/3 first strike haste. Well, I guess you can cast the other side, can't you? So they're MDFCs / transformable TDFCs. And then I wonder what the rules are going to be for reanimating them from your graveyard. Can you reanimate this side, or does it have to be the prime, the A side? This symbol. This is side 2. If you attack, double the number of each kind of counter on each spider and legendary creature you control. Jeez. Yeah, so you have to flip it as a sorcery. Still good stats. J. Jonah Jameson. This one made me laugh when I saw it in the previews. 2/2, it enters, suspect up to 1 target creature. Whenever a creature you control with menace attacks, create a treasure token. The photos are garbage, Parker. I'll buy them all. And good job on Paulo Rivera not painting it to look like, what's the actor? Just played J. Jonah Jameson like his whole career now. Like my whole lifetime. Gosh, you know what I'm talking about. The guy from Whiplash. Ultimate Green Goblin, 5/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card, then create a treasure token, Mayhem for 3, which is already what it costs, but you can save on a colored pip. I mean, just making a treasure token. Oh, but you have to discard a card, but it's a Mayhem enabler. 3 mana, 5/4. They've kind of gotten broken on the stats. Am I right, people? Like, I don't know. I'm making a bad cube right now. A cube of cards that's just bad. Like, Callous Giant. 6 mana. Let's see, can you see this? Maybe not big enough. Let's go full screen. Callous Giant. Get the focus. Come on. Plenty of light here. Okay, it's not pulling focus. Because it wants to focus on my lovely face. Red, and 4. Creature Giant. It's a 4/4. If a source would deal 3 damage or less to Callous Giant, prevent that damage. You got to make it lethal damage or no. And this is a rare from Invasion. So there you go. How far we've come. Now you can get a 5/4 with upside for just 3 mana. Spider Ham, Peter Porker comes in, makes a food. Other spiders, boars, bats, bears, birds, cats, dogs, frogs, jackals, lizards, mice, otters, rabbits, raccoons, rats, squirrels, turtles, and wolves you control get +1/+1. I don't know why they stopped. What about pangolins? Yeah, so I mean, you could just put one of these in the rabbit deck, right? They're giving rabbits +1/+1. I don't know. I guess there's some Gruul lizard decks too. This is a one of. I could see, at the very least. Urban Retreat, there's a speculation this is a cycle that's going to be across all the Marvel sets. This one is for Bant. Just a Bant tap land. 2-mana, return a tap creature you control to its owner's hand, and you can ramp it. That could be pretty strong. A Gwen Stacy, 2-mana, 2/1, enters, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as you control this creature. And for 5 mana, you can Ghost Spider, 4/4 flying vigilance heist. Whenever you play a land from exile or cast a spell from exile, it gets +1/+1. And you can remove 2 counters to exile the top card of your library. Maybe play it. I think it would have to be good enough on this side. Oh, top card. So a 2/1 that comes in with the... Definitely see it as a one of in the red decks. So they've done these designs. They're very good for Commander. They're not all completely useless for Constructed. Now, I don't know how many will be played more than one of, but a lot of them look like they have slots in the meta. So if you hate Universes Beyond, I hate to tell you, but you probably got to read these cards. Now, actually, the good thing I can tell you is on Arena, there's no Spider-Man. You're going to just read the Omenpaths version, which is the, not quite copyright version of these. So, in that case, you didn't have that choice with Final Fantasy. And, the art was looking good on some of the Through the Omenpaths that I saw. Spider-Man 2099 from the future. You can't cast Spider-Man 2099 during your first, second, or third turns of the game. In the year 2099. Double Strike Vigilance. Beginning of your end step, if you've played a land or cast a spell this turn from anywhere other than your hand. Deals damage equal to its power to any target. Holy camole! So you can't... As soon as you can have this out as turn 4, but it's a 2/3 Double Strike Vigilance. Not great in is it necessarily. This would be something you would probably build around with pump spells or something. You do something, just bounce everything off the board for the first 3 turns. Second turn or fourth turn, cast this, and you're not attacking to the 5th turn. So second turn, 4th turn, you cast this with protection up. Some kind of blue hexproof for phase out protection. That's a deck. I don't know. Could be okay. I don't think it competes with Vivi Cauldron. But, it's playable, guys. You wanted to ignore these cards. I got bad news for you. Hide on the Ceiling. Aunt May, don't look up. Exile X target artifacts or creatures. Return the exiled cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next step. This is another one. You could put this in control decks. Right? This you can use. It doesn't say creatures you control. So you can blink a bunch of your value town stuff. The, dragon enchantment that draws you a card. Essentially the 4/5 flyer companion guy, Yorion. Essentially all the Yorion tricks, but just do it as a X. Yeah, just blink out a bunch of their creatures. They get reset in the middle of combat, so you fog them, you get a ton of value, eventually find your board wipe. It's only artifacts and or creatures, actually. So yeah, so you can't blink the Dragon Storm, the Blue Dragon Storm. So there's certainly artifacts with ETBs, and there's plenty of creatures with ETBs. Maybe there's a way to do it without board wipes, though, so you can protect your own creatures, so you don't worry about wiping your own creatures, having a bit of a non-bow. Seems fun. Don't know if it'll be good. Radioactive Spider, 1/1 Reach Death Touch. Not legendary. Fateful Bite, 2, sacrifice it. Search your library for a Spider Hero card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle, activate only as a sorcery. Guys, good card. That's a good card. Mono green Spider Heroes, and then just have a toolbox deck of Spider Heroes. Especially in older formats where you have changelings as Spider Heroes. I could totally see it. Radioactive Spider. Oh, this is just the same, different art. Okay. I'm not SPM. Is this some kind of promo? Alright, Agent Venom, 2/3 Flash Menace. We talked about him. With great power comes great responsibility. Chant creature you control. It's +2/+2 for each art and equipment attached to it. So baseline 2. Baseline +2/+2 because it's counting itself. All damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to enchanted creature instead. This is a fun commander card. I don't think this is standard card. I could be wrong. There could be some weird combo I'm not thinking of. Here's Mary Jane Watson. Whenever a spider you control enters, draw a card. If there is a spider deck with Radioactive Spider, you got your Mary Janes in there. And your Spider Hams. Oh, why is my mouse being weird? It's being all slow now. Oh my goodness. What just happened? That might be a sign it's time to call it quits. Aranya, Heart of the Spider. Aranya is Spanish for spider. You didn't know? Whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. Whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Yeah, Boros Aggro. Seems playable. Maximum Carnage. So your next turn, each creature attacks each combat if able and attacks another player if able. Add red. Deals 5 damage to each opponent. Spider Sense. Oh, there we go. I got it released. We can talk about more cards. Get to Black Cat at least. So web slinging for 1 blue. Counter target instant spell, sorcery spell, or triggered ability. So are there blue control decks that want... I mean, I guess if you're a blue creature deck, like a Fairies deck in Pioneer or something, this is potentially playable, especially if there's like a Ninjas deck, like you want to have creatures with ETBs that you want to bounce back. And that's a rare. I definitely see that being playable. Black Cat, Cunning Thief, one of my daughter's favorites. They watch the Spidey and Friends, the little like bug-eyed version. Anyways, when she enters, look at the top 9 cards of target opponent's library. Exile 2 of them face down. Then put the rest on the bottom of the library in random order. You may play them for as long as they remain exiled. Man of any type can be expected to cast spells this way. So Heist, 2 of the opponent's top 9. Which is a 2/3 for 5. I'd say that's more fun than competitive. Clone Saga, Surveil 3. When you next cast a creature spell this turn, copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. There's probably a way to abuse that, honestly. I guess it's because it's turn 2. Then you choose a card name. Whenever a creature with the chosen name deals combat damage to a player this turn, draw a card. Presumably you're choosing the creature that you already cloned. The thing about this is they can see it coming, so they can wait and like you put the target of this on this stack. I think it's copied. So you're always getting at least the copy, even if they counterspell it. Huh. Still seems more fun than playable, or than, you know, constructed. Viable Hydro-Man. Need to get a higher resolution Hydro-Man here. Whenever you cast a blue spell, if it is a creature, gets +1/+1 till end of turn. At the beginning of your end step, untap Hydro-Man. Until your next turn, he becomes a land and gains tap, add blue. This seems great, right? Just play this in some kind of control deck where you can play it on like turn 3 and then hold up a counter spell, and it's kind of blue ramp. Seems like any commander deck would want this. I think people might be sleeping on Hydro-Man, honestly. What is the current price of Hydro? Well, $21. Maybe they're not sleeping on it that much. We're all the way down here. We're still at like the $20 level. Shadow of the Goblin. Beginning of your first main phase, discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So repeatable discard draw. Good for mayhem, obviously. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, this enchantment deals 1 damage to each opponent. This will be a combo card. I can guarantee you there's combos that let you just recast something over and over again from outside your hand, like exiling Squee the Immortal, and you can cast from exile or whatever. That's also about $21. Lady Octopus, Inspired Inventor. Whenever you draw your first or second card each turn, put an Ingenuity counter on Lady Octopus. Okay. Then you can cast an artifact spell from your hand. Mana value less than. Seems like a fun commander, not super viable. Multiversal Passage comes in. You choose a basic land type. You can pay 2 life to have it enter untapped. Otherwise, it enters tapped. Seems like a 4 of in a lot of decks, potentially, depending on how the mana bases shake out. You know, starting town is better. I don't know. I would trade for it at the pre-release. Somebody's trading Multiversal Passage. They don't want it. Probably not that great in Commander, honestly. It could fall in price. Scarlet Spider Ben Riley. Web slinging for a red and green. Otherwise, it's 1 red and green. 4/3 trample. Just a stat monster, no big deal. And what's the upside? If it was cast using web slinging, you get X +1/+1 counters, where X is the mana value of the returned creature. Yeah. I mean, other than it being legendary, this would be a pretty strong rule aggro card. Superior Spider-Man. You may have Superior Spider-Man enter as a copy of any creature card in a graveyard, except his name is Superior Spider-Man, and he's a 4/4 Spider-Human hero in addition to his other types. When you do, exile that card. Good for my Gyruda deck. Don't care for it in standard. Just having to have the setup. I mean, there's probably a blue-black Reanimator deck. You just, you know, a 4/4 version of Valgavoth is still really strong. Valgavoth is that strong. Spider-Woman, Stunning Savior. Artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter tapped. Yeah, again, the stacks thing. Maybe there's a blue-white kind of aggro kind of stacksy deck using some of these. Certainly good in like CEDH or things that care about, you know, cheap creatures that can stacks. Symbiote Spider-Man. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Having trouble processing this one. So let's skip over and see what... Oh, we've got a lot of comments from Michael. A land that ramps is cool. Yeah, agreed. I like the camera. Works well in artifacts. 100%. High on the ceiling feels like a power creep. This town ain't big enough. Yeah, kind of. If you missed This Town Ain't Big Enough, this card is for you. Yeah, well, they banned it. Guess not for long. White Token Maker. Finally. Yeah, sarcasm. Yeah. Screaming Nemesis loves power. That's true. Spider Sense is going to be meta. Which one was Spider Sense? Oh, yeah. Counter target instant sorcery triggered. Do you see that in the meta? Like, just like a Pixie deck thing, maybe? Definitely fits right into Pixie, actually. So, yeah, I'm with you 100%, Michael. Hydra Man is a commander card. Looking forward to playing him in Brawl. Yeah, Shadow of the Goblin, 100% going to be a meta card. Discard with damage. Yeah, and best card for Standard. I don't know which one you're talking about for that one. I wasn't... I only have one screen with this computer, so I don't get to read the full screen here while I'm also reading the comments. Maybe one day I'll be a better streamer, but right now, you know, I'm putting most of my effort into being a good dad and like the rest into being a mediocre streamer and content creator. Symbiote Spiderman 2/4. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You get 2 normally. Put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So you're going to get to pick one of the best 2. And you can exile it from your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control, and it gains this card's other abilities. Now that is actually a really interesting ability because there's lots of creatures you would like to give this ability to. It's kind of expensive. That gets more around the legendary thing, right? You'd play a 4 of this in a deck where you just don't mind getting them in the graveyard. Spider-Punk, other spiders you control have Riot. So yeah, red-green spider aggro. And there's Spider-Ham, the regular version. Ultimate Green Goblin, the regular version. Iron Spider, the regular version. Costume Closet. Okay, so if we finally hit uncommons, the number 1 uncommon is Costume Closet. $10 here. Pre-release price, probably going down. Although there are fewer uncommons these days with the 14 card packs, the way they're printing and distributing everything. So if an uncommon becomes a 4 of in Standard, it tends to be worth, you know, 5, 6, I don't know, about $10. This artifact enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Tap, move a +1/+1 counter from this artifact to a creature you control. You have to activate that as a sorcery. So, okay, like Weapons Rack. Whenever a modified creature you control leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on this artifact. A little bit Ozolith, not as good as Ozolith, and a little bit better than Weapons Rack. I don't know if that's a $10 card. It's cool card if you're spider theming. Am I missing something? Certainly would be good if there was a +1/+1 counters deck. I feel like there's definitely a lot of the pieces for it, especially in Foundations, which makes it a cheap deck for people to build. Daily Bugle. Taps to add colorless or can filter and can give a legendary creature menace. I mean, if you're a commander deck that your creature wants to attack and it doesn't already have menace, would you just play this, right? But otherwise, colorless is kind of a drawback. You don't want to pay 2 mana for 1 mana of any color generally. Spider-Man Noir, 4/4 menace. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, put a +1/+1 counter on it and surveil X, where X is the number of counters on it. You could surveil a lot. I mean, that is 5 mana. I think that's more of a limited card, but you could surveil a lot with that ability. In the right deck, surveil is strong. About 5 mana. Fun cube card. Rhino, Barreling Brute. 6/7 Vigilance, Trample, Haste. Whenever Rhino attacks, if you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater this turn, draw a card. Yeah, no. Spiderman India, 4/4 web slinging. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control against flying until end of turn. Spider-Man India had a great, in the second Spider-Verse movie, I believe it was. Great scene. Yeah. Do you web sling it? Is it? So you're bouncing a creature, but you get a 4/4 for 3 mana. It just seems limited. Strong and limited. Web Warriors. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. Again, very strong and limited. Go wide. And Spider Hero, but not legendary. Pictures of Spider-Man. When this artifact enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 creature cards from among them. Put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And then you get to sacrifice it to turn it into a treasure. Why not just 1 tap sacrifice? Is there some treasure synergy? I guess it's all flavor, right? That's why. Right? They paid you the treasure. They paid you in gold for the pictures of Spider-Man. Prowler, 2/3 menace. Whenever another villain you control enters, Prowler connives. Bringing back Connive, which is pretty good and pretty strong. That will be a good limited card. Call that now. Spider Suit. Creature gets +2/+2 and is a spider hero. Unfortunately, can't be fetched by Radioactive Spider. Vulture Scheming Scavenger. Whenever Vulture attacks villains you control, gain flying until end of turn. Very strong top end for the blue-black deck. Looks like just based on what people want money-wise, the white-green and the blue-black decks in Limited will be popular. Whether they'll be good or not, I don't know. Hopefully, the next couple of days I'll have time to go through the whole card file and do my usual Limited breakdown, but guys, those take way too much time. City Pigeon, 1/1 flyer and leaves the food behind, which kind of implies you're eating the pigeon instead of pigeon stealing the food. Spider-Man Brooklyn Visionary. Search up a basic land, but it's 5 mana, but you can web sling it. That is common. Both of these are common. Those are first 2 commons. Are people really paying $5 to pre-order a City Pigeon? I don't think so. $4 for I might believe $4 for Spider-Man Brooklyn Visionary. I don't believe $5 for the City Pigeon. And you got the Weblands. Those are great. Aunt May. Whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life, and she costs 1. I mean, now that's an uncommon. That will be worth. I'm almost guaranteeing that will be worth more than $371. That group of decks, the Soul Sisters group of decks, it goes in a number of commander decks. That will be a value card. Playable now. Well, gives you a +1 on each of your spiders? Kind of weird. I feel like Aunt May should like buff your heroes or something. Maybe give your heroes like a temporary boost. Spider, piloted by Penny. Peony? 4/4 vigilance. SPDR. What's a +1/+1 counter on a creature? Whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. That will be good and limited. Draw a card, always good. Alien Symbiosis. Enchant creature. +1/+1. Menace is a symbiote. And you can cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. That's actually... I don't know if that gets around the limitations of auras, but the ability to cast it again and again... you'd have to have a deck that cares enough about Symbiote, but it's intriguing. I'm intrigued by it. Chameleon, aka Voldemort. Who stole whose face? This is your standard clone effect, but with mayhem. Again, good for my guy Ruda deck. Ezekiel Sims, Spider Totem. 3/5 reach. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target spider you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. What happens if you clone a clone cloning a clone? Yeah, whatever. That's whatever. Limited card, flash. Untap target creature. That might have combo potential. Heroes Hangout. You get either the exile or the buff and first strike. Is sorcery speed. Got a little ejaculation metaphor going on here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. It's just 1 mana. Vivi type decks like that. And you could use it to get another card. I wouldn't rule that one out. Craven Proud Predator. Star 4 Vigilance. Power equal to greatest mana value among permanents you control. So baseline of 3 mana, 3/4 Vigilance. I mean, come on. That's great. Madam Web Clairvoyant. Everybody's favorite movie, I guess. Maybe behind Morbius. You may look at the top card of your library any time. You may cast spider spells and non-creature spells from the top of your library. Whenever you attack, you may mill a card. Yeah, limited. Molten Man, Inferno Incarnate. When enter, search your library for a basic mountain. Put it on the battlefield. Tapped. Hey, red ramp. Mono red ramp. Heck yeah. I'll wait till it goes down from $3, but when it leaves the battlefield, you do have to sacrifice the land, but that's kind of how a lot of these red ramp cards work. Here's Morbius. 4 mana, 3/1. Let's just ignore the rest of the text and pretend that's all it is. That would have been perfect. Flying Vigilance, Lifelink. Okay. Strong and limited. Blue and a black, exile from your graveyard. You get to look at the top 3, put 1 into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Yeah, that's going to be a limited. That's going to be a great card in limited. 100%. Even if you have to like play a duplicate and put the other one in the graveyard, you get to get the card out of it. Rhino's Rampage for 1 mana, +1/+0, and then fight. And when there's excess damage, you get to blow up an artifact. Possible sideboard card. Or the right kind of stompy deck that needs to blow up artifacts. Secret Identity. You guys have all seen, what's it called? Unmask? You guys all seen this? Look, same artist. RK Post. RK Post. It's the same card. Except this is a 1 mana. Either make something a 1/1 and hexproof, which you can use kind of as removal on a block. Like the opponent blocks one of your creatures, that's at least, you know, a 2/2 or something. And then until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a hero with base power and toughness, 3/4, and gains flying and vigilance. Oh no, this is only target creature you control. Okay, but the 1 mana hex gives hexproof, is generally a good limited card at the very least. Possibly into constructed playable. If there was a reason we wanted to make making Vivi as a 1/1 is bad if you haven't used the mana ability. But you know, making Vivi a 3/4 if you haven't used the mana ability, it might be good. Definitely keep an eye on Secret Identity. Spider Girl, Spider's Man. Spider UK, Sun Spider. See, this is all these spiders. Obviously, I mean, this is the spider set. That's what they're doing. I'm kind of more interested in the stuff that they probably had to design, like Wisecrack. That probably wasn't. That's like what you do to fill out the set, right? Target creature deals damage equal to its power to itself. If that creature is attacking, it deals 2 damage to that creature's controller. Good limited. It won't be played in standard, I can almost guarantee. Vibrant Cityscape is just a almost complete reprint of Terramorphic Expanse / Evolving Wilds. Web shooter. I mean, look, if you want to, I think we already have enough fetch lands in standard, but yeah, for the mono green decks that need fetch lands, the landfall decks, Electro's Bolt, 3 mana, deal 4 with a mayhem of 2, sure. 2/1 lifelink. This will be good in limited. 2/1 lifelink is good. Almost every limited format. And then a mana sink. Watch out for Merciless Enforcers. Your sealed pool. Tombstone, Career Criminal. Villain spells cost 1 less. Hey. And it brings back... Holy camole. Would that ever get played in standard? If there's a villain deck. Legendary. Spider Bite, yeah, here you go. Just your bouncing jellyfish type card. 3 mana, 2/2 bounces. Online permanent. Grow Extra Arms. 1 mana +4/+4 in a spider deck. There's no like spiders with infect, right? Or this would be playable in like infect in a later thing. All right, I guess we're almost going through the whole card file. I do want Pumpkin Bombardment for my Halloween deck for sure. Even says Happy Halloween, Spider-Man. When I first built the Halloween cube, I wasn't thinking I would like have like actual characters people dress up as. Here you go. Spider Manifestation. Untaps whenever you cast a spell. Yeah. This is a 2/2 for 2 mana dork with reach. That'll be played in limited for sure. Alright. No more comments from Michael. Alright, well, yeah. I don't have time to go through every single card today. Hopefully I will have time to go through. But I think this set's cool, guys. I like a lot of these cards. I don't know. It's different. We have to accept there's going to be even weirder stuff than Spider-Man coming into Magic, I'm sure. Whatever they can make a deal with. You know, Final Fantasy Lord of the Rings kind of fit really well because they're all kind of, you know, it's all of the same lineage. Spider-Man, maybe less so. Hot dog cart. Kapow! It is what it is, guys. I don't know. I wasn't super thrilled about Universes Beyond coming into Magic. But maybe I'm just letting, because I like I like Marvel stuff. I'm not like the biggest Marvel fan. I'm not the Marvel fanboy from way back, you know, but I enjoy a good Marvel movie. I enjoy watching cartoons of Spider-Man with my kids. Like, there was probably a world where they did this better, where they didn't have to change direction on it, and it was more like designed to work in limited standard from the get-go. But like Scorpion Sting, that's something that they can just reprint with that name, because it could be the Scorpion bad guy, or it could just be a Scorpion Sting. Like there's some stuff here that, you know, Web Up, doesn't have to be Spider-Man themed. They don't even have to change the name. I'm a little more concerned about keeping it all straight with the through the Omenpaths versions of these things, because they're not going to put the little like equal to Stegron the Dinosaur Man thing. So then you're just are you gonna look up every card to see which cards count as equivalent in the game. That's just a really clunky way of doing things. And Spiderman having it. Is that not supposed to be Mary Jane? It says face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot, Mary Jane Watson. Isn't there another Spider? Well, anyways, I don't remember Mary Jane having such nice curves, but there you go. Masked Meower. Got a Spider Cat. Craven's Cats. Daily Bugle Reporters. Scout the City. That you wouldn't have to change. Spider Bot you wouldn't necessarily have to change. Alright. That's my children. I gotta go. Alright. You guys let me know what you think. Am I off base? We're kind of enjoying this. I've been Man of Dad reminding you Magic is a game so fun.